Hello and welcome. I'm Amritanshu Rai and you're watching Law of the Land on Rajya Sabha TV. Today we bring to you two important judgments of the Supreme Court on caste conflict and their implications. To discuss the issue, I have with me Justice Markandey, Katju, Chairman, Press Council of India, and Professor Sushma Yadav, Professor of Public Policy and Governance, IIPA. Now for the headlines. The Supreme Court direction on intercaste marriage clearly says that the maximum non-consenting parents can do is severe social relations. It also says that no family member can threaten couples in an intercaste marriage. In another judgment on Khap Panchayats, the Apex Court directs officers to prevent Khap Panchayats or be ready to face action. The Supreme Court judgment on intercaste marriage clearly states that if the boy or girl has attained adulthood, then all that the parents can do is cut off social relations with the son or daughter in case they don't approve of intercaste or interreligious marriage. But they can't issue threats or instigate violence. The judgment was delivered by the Supreme Court 6 years back in the case of Lata Singh, a resident of Uttar Pradesh.
The Supreme Court had observed in its judgment that the caste system is a curse on the nation, and the sooner it is destroyed, the better. In fact, it is dividing the nation at a time when there is need to be united. Intercaste marriages are in fact in the national interest, as they will result in destroying the caste system. The court sent out clear direction to the police to act in cases the boy or girl were being harassed for entering into intercaste marriage.
If they are killing, like honor killings, they have to be taken to task by the enforcement machinery, which is the police. But otherwise, you have to be able to, energize and stimulate alternative structures within the area they are, in the city or the panchayat area that they have the Khaps. There we have to set up alternative structures which actually energize women, etc., who oppose it. And the police must support them.
The Supreme Court in its judgment has settled several issues and also issued instructions to the police as how they can deal with such situations. The court said that violence, threats or harassment meted out to couples marrying outside their caste is illegal and persons committing the act should be severely punished. The court also said that once a person becomes a major, he or she can marry whosoever he or she likes. If the parents of the boy or girl do not approve of such intercaste or interreligious marriage, the maximum they can do is to cut off social relations. The Apex Court directed the administration and the police authorities to ensure that such persons are not harassed if they are adults. In case someone tries to violate the orders, criminal proceedings should be instituted against such persons. The court also had that honor killings illegal.
Marriage is still date is relationship between two families and marriage between two families, but now it is increasingly becoming a relationship between two individuals, and that is coming in clash. The old system and the new system clashing, and the prevailing caste hierarchies being there, so it is creating a lot of heat among these people and they are taking such decisions.
Lata Singh, resident of Kanpur, was an adult and has decided to marry into Gupta family, because of which Lata's family wreaked havoc on the couple and the Gupta family. In fact, the Supreme Court observed that the police was aiding in the harassment meted out to Lata and the Gupta family. It was only when Lata Singh petitioned the Supreme Court that she got relief. Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar is one of those legends who fought throughout their life to eradicate caste system, and once said that intercaste marriage is the real remedy to end the caste system in India. With camera person Virendra, Aruna Thakur, Rajya Sabha TV.
The existing system of governance, does it provide for the continuation of caste system?
See, the whole politics in this country, if not whole, at least 90%, runs on the basis of caste and religion. You know, the vote banks are on the basis of caste and religion. And casteism is being deliberately perpetuated by certain political leaders because they get their caste vote banks on their basis. But you see, the foundation of the caste system has been largely destroyed with the advance of technology. It is being this caste system is being artificially propped up by certain political leaders for their own selfish interests. But you see, the caste system was based on the feudal occupational division of labor in society, which means that every vocation became a caste. Carpenter became a caste, badhai. Potter became a caste, Kumar.
Fisherman became
fisherman, chama, jo chamde ka kaam karte the. You had no right to choose your profession. You had to follow your father's profession. Because in those days, there were no engineering colleges or technical institutes. The only way to learn a craft or trade was to sit with your father from childhood. If your father is a carpenter, you sit with him from the age of 5 or 6 and see how he is functioning, and he will guide you, and you also become a carpenter.
Do you think, sir, there is an alternative system? You've delivered a judgment. There is no legislation. There are various legislation, but caste-specific legislations, but no all-pervasive legislation which ensures an alternative structure to prevent such caste-related clashes from happening. Whereas this is one of the biggest problems as far as politics is concerned and policy is concerned.
See, when the top political leaders, they know that when the elections come, they see how many Yadavs are in this constituency, how many Harijans are in this constituency, how many Muslims are in this constituency, and on that basis the candidate is selected and so on and so forth. When the top people, they behave in this manner, then what can you expect of people lower down the ladder?
I get it. Ma'am, providing protection to the people, the point you made, the challengers of intercaste marriages or interreligious marriages, protection of them. We don't have protection for witnesses at this point of time. We don't have a legislation, we don't have a framework. Now we are talking in terms of people who are actually ready to go out there and fight the caste system.
Right.
Do we have enough systems of fallback pads for such people? Except for the Supreme Court, obviously.
No, I think we do not have, Amritanshu, and it's very sad state of affairs. And I would say that this was one point where Dr. Ambedkar and Gandhi agreed. They differed on so many aspects. But this intercaste marriages, leading to naturally common living and common dining, were the I think cases where they both agreed, but we have not been able to provide protection. And here if you permit me, I like to quote what Ambedkar said after making all those laws. Somebody said, you're making such excellent laws and the constitution has been written, but why it is not really percolating down or happening? And he said, maybe that was somewhat extreme view also. He said, we've made excellent laws, but the laws have to be administered. And administration is completely rigged by, he said, rigged by upper caste Hindus who do not believe that intercaste marriages are going to be good. And not merely that, somewhere in their minds, they have this untouchability ingrained. Of course, with Justice Katju sitting here and giving these judgments, I may not really believe it completely. But then he said, and I think it is very evident from this case, I'll further quote him. He said, if an untouchable is facing some kind of social ostracism or problem, even intercaste marriage could be some, he will go to the police station. The first thing that the policeman will say, don't you have to live in the same village?
That's exactly what happened in Lata Singh's case, and that is what the court found at the highest level.
Yes.
When they had to go through all the lower, higher, and then Supreme Court finally helped them out and said, and instituted cases against the police.
Indeed.
It's time for us to head into a break. When we come back, we will we will show you the strict direction that the Apex Court has given to officers to prevent Khap panchayats.
Watch State of the Economy with Shashi Tharoor, 7:30 p.m. Monday, only on Rajya Sabha Television.
Welcome back. The Supreme Court has also held that the decision of the Khap panchayats are illegal. According to the court, government officers found not preventing Khap panchayats should be suspended and charge sheeted. The court has also directed that the officers will be deemed to be accountable directly or indirectly in this connection.
This is how the Supreme Court summed up its point of view on contemporary times. It said, one must take care not to insult anyone's feeling on account of his caste, religion, tribe or language. But a large section of Indian society still regard a section of their own countrymen as inferior, and this mental attitude is unacceptable. The apex court in its judgment directed the government administration to be more responsive.
Most of the Khap panchayat violence was mostly related to the intercaste marriages and the interreligious marriages. Mostly on intercaste marriages, when higher caste girl or marries to a lower caste boy, then it creates a lot of problems.
The court directed that, in case the government officer do not act, the state government may suspend the district magistrate and SSP of the district. The court also laid down the grounds under which the state government may act against its officer if the officer do not prevent in the incident from occurring despite having knowledge of it in advance, or if it has occurred, they do not promptly apprehend the culprits and others involved. The court also held that officer will be deemed to be directly or indirectly accountable in this connection. According to the direction, in case the officers are found not acting, they should be charge sheeted. The court also directed that their order should be sent to all chief secretaries, home secretaries and the director general of the police in all states and union territories, with the direction that it should be circulated to all officers up to the level of district for strict compliance. The apex court also directed that a copy of the order to be sent to the registrar journals to all high courts to be circulated to all judges of the court.
खाप पंचायतें, ग्राम पंचायतें जिनकी आप बात करी हैं, वो बच्चों की, अपने बहू बेटियों के अच्छे भविष्य की सुरक्षा के लिए ये सारे काम, ताकि कोई हादसा ना हो और कोई दुर्घटना ना हो और ज़्यादा बात ने आगे बढ़े.
The Khap Panchayat comprise of village elders grouped along caste or community lines. The Khap Panchayat are known to decree or encourage honor killing on boys and girls of different caste and religion who wish to get married or have been married. A Khap Panchayat system is as old as the 14th century and was started by Jats to consolidate their power and position. Caste system is a social evil, and it is the society only who can curb this problem. So it is the responsibility of young generation to come forward to change this mindset of the society. With camera person Virendra, Aruna Thakur, Rajya Sabha TV.
Is it easy to implement? Is there a will to implement it? Sir, I'll bring you directly into it. Very strict, tight instructions and directions to all the administration and the police. Do this in case this happens, hold him accountable. Governments ensure that they are punished, charge sheeted if the government really wants and it is proved. Do you think any government will actually take up cudgels against its own officers? Is it implementable?
See, the government depends on caste vote banks. Many of these Khap panchayats provide the caste vote banks. So the chief minister would not like to annoy the Khap panchayat. Now, if the chief minister does not want to annoy the Khap panchayat, then the district magistrate and SSP would not like to annoy the chief minister. So if the DM and SSP hear that some honor killing is about to take place, they will turn a blind eye. They will not intervene, thinking that if we intervene, the chief minister may get angry and suspend me or transfer me. So let it happen. But this is not going to be permitted any longer. After this judgment, we have to be very tough. Here the judiciary's role becomes very important because we are not dependent on your vote banks. You may like me or I don't care for your votes at all. As a Supreme Court judge, High Court judge, I am not dependent on your vote banks. So I am not a politician who has to bother about these Khap panchayats. I will do what is in the interest of my nation, what is in the interest of modern society, and I will be very tough on this.
But ma'am, these systems are very old.
Very old.
And they are basically whenever there is a need, they gather and they start making fatwas or calls on certain social issues. Do you think it's really possible to weed them out at this juncture, especially when we don't have full-blown technology and information creeping down to the base level, one, and the old systems are yet to die and are very, very strong rooted. Possible?
Nothing is impossible. I believe that. And I think we have to have a two-pronged strategy for that. Everything can be done. It takes time, that's all. One is what Justice Katju just now said. Judiciary has to be vigilant. And here I'll again share with you what Pandit Nehru said in the Constituent Assembly. Judiciary can't be the third house, but it is the chamber of wise people who live far away from the crowd of vote-catching people and political parties. And therefore, they can very wisely decide how to implement laws and what laws should be implemented, both things. And so if judiciary becomes as strong, and it is not a question of one judgment, but getting strong on all the judgments, and then it be percolating down, and then they can also see whether it is being executed. But we also have to have the second strategy, and that strategy is changing the mindset. We've just not worked on that, because the people who are doing it are semi-literate and partly educated. Because even MA.
Information and education.
Both, education also, because it is only education which changes. Why the literate, or I would say good educated people living in city-bred people, high-bred people I would say, do not indulge in such kind of violence very easily. The violence comes from the middle castes and the middle classes also, I would say, who think something
Ma'am,
great
I
is at
put to
stake.
you, if something of this kind happens in your family, how would you react?
I'm sure in our family it's very well accepted, because there are many people in the family who do it and they've been accepted. Rather, we feel proud of it. You know, a class is emerging in India which is very proud if there is an intercaste marriage. But still, I would say there's something problematic, and that is, you know, what we say in Indian society, roti beti ka sambandh. So we would like to give our daughter to a high caste person. We don't mind. Even the family doesn't mind. But bringing the, you know,
Low caste
yes,
son-in-law is difficult.
Is difficult.
thing.
So that is a problem, but then it becomes problem for both the communities.
Yeah,
And
I'll get
yes.
sir in. Sir, in one of your judgments, which we could not take, you actually come out really using harsh words, sir. Since we've not been able to include it, I would like you to bring out the high points and why those harsh words were used by you. What was the purpose behind it?
In my opinion, barbaric people have to be treated in a barbaric manner. You cannot try to persuade them. So these people who indulge in honor killing, the only way to deal with them is to hang them. No lesser sentence. Otherwise, they will not come to their senses. You may keep trying to persuade them. And what Madam was saying, if I may be permitted to disagree with her, it's not that city people are different. I can tell you, I was a lawyer for 20 years in Allahabad High Court.
Right, sir.
In the Bar Association, like High Court lawyers, the Pandit lawyer will vote for Pandit candidate, Caste lawyer will vote for Caste candidate. Then, how are you different? What are you saying that the city people have? You may be an exception, madam, but let me ask you, if your daughter wants to marry a Harijan boy, will you allow it? If a Jat a girl wants to marry a Harijan boy, both will be killed immediately in many parts of India. So what are you talking? That I am very liberal. Will you be liberal when your daughter wants to marry a Harijan? No, you will not. So please don't tell me all this. You will not be liberal. You will be as fanatic when it comes to your daughter marrying a Harijan. So please, and I am telling you the truth. Casteism is full in very much inside so-called educated people. I don't blame illiterates and the rural and all. I blame you people. You educated people are full of casteism and communalism, and that is why I have said 90% Indians are fools, educated people. Leave aside illiterate. 90% educated people are fools, full of casteism, communalism. When it comes to them, they will rather see their daughter die than marry a Harijan. This is the truth.
On that note, it's time for us to take a break. When we come back, we will show you an interview with President of Dhankar Khap, Mr. Om Prakash Dhankar.
I do not accept the theory that has been propounded by BJP, that is policy paralysis.
Watch To The Point, only on Rajya Sabha TV.
Welcome back. My colleague Aruna Thakur spoke to Mr. Om Prakash Dhankar, President Dhankar Khap, and tried to get his point of view.
ऐसा माना जाता है कि खाप का कानून में विश्वास नहीं है, तो किन कारणों से ये विश्वास नहीं बन पा रहा है?
आपकी कोर्ट कचहरियों में झूठ का बोलबाला होता है, नित्य प्रतिदिन गवाह बदले जाते हैं, तोड़े जाते हैं, खरीदे जाते हैं, और एक निष्पक्ष व ईमानदार जज के लिए भी ये जानना कठिन हो जाता है कि सच क्या है। परंतु हमारी खाप पंचायतों में सच्चाई का बोलबाला होता है, वहाँ झूठ का कोई नामो निशान नहीं, और इसीलिए जो है वहाँ न्याय तुल जाता है। कोर्ट कचहरियों में हमेशा क्या है कि एक निर्णय सुनाया जाता है, और जज को किसी को फायदे में होगा, किसी को नुकसान में। परंतु खाप पंचायतों में जो है दोनों फरीकों को रजामंदी से वो मनवाया जाता है, किसी का कोई दबाव नहीं, कुछ नहीं, तो अपने सुझाव हैं, खाप पंचायत अपना निर्णय दे देगी, उसके बाद में क्योंकि दोनों फरीकों को इंसाफ मिलेगा, दोनों रजामंद होंगे। इसमें
ये भी कहा जाता है कि खाप कानून को अपने हाथ में लेता है, तो इसके बारे में आप क्या कहना चाहते हैं?
नहीं, ये देखो, कानून समाज के लिए है या समाज कानून के लिए? कानून तो अंत में समाज के लिए बना है, और हमारी जो है वो सारी सामाजिक न्याय व्यवस्था है, ये किसी का कोई नुकसान नहीं पहुंचा रहे और अगर समाज को तोड़ने का काम किया जाएगा तो अपने आप ये तो खाप पंचायत जो होंगे, जो कोई तोड़ेगा वो अपने आप जाएगा, भुगतेगा उस चीज़ को। बाकी खाप कभी भी किसी किस्म की ना कोई ऑनर कोई किलिंग करवाती, ना कोई गलत आदेश देती। खाप के ऊपर तो थोप दिया जाता है, सिर्फ करते हैं उनके घर के, उनके भाई बंद, उनके चाचा ताऊ, उनके रिश्तेदार। खाप कभी उनको समर्थन नहीं देती।
कई राज्य हम जैसे देखेंगे, हरियाणा, पंजाब, राजस्थान, जहाँ पे कन्या भ्रूण हत्या के मामले बहुत आते हैं, तो उनकी वजह क्या है?
जब एक बड़े प्यार से माँ बाप जो है उस लड़की को पढ़ा के, पाल के, पोस के, पढ़ा के, और जब कन्यादान का टाइम आवा, जब वो गामा तय लेके भाज जाए किसी ने, जो कोई सामाजिक व्यवस्था में हमारी में, तो इसमें उसको गलत मानते हैं। हम यही चाहते हैं कि भाई जो हिंदू विवाह अधिनियम 1955 है, इसमें थोड़ा सा बदलाव करके, ताकि लड़कियों की चाहत जब बढ़ेगी, जब लड़कियां जो है ना वो माँ बाप के खिलाफ ना होंगी।
एक तरफ हिंदू कानून गोत्र विवाह को मान्यता देता है और एक तरफ खाप इसके विरुद्ध है, तो इसके पीछे क्या कारण है जो आप गोत्र विवाह के विरुद्ध काम कर रहे हैं?
मान्यताएं, परंपराएं जो बहुत पुरानी हैं, वो तोड़ने के लिए नहीं बनाई जाती, इनके कुछ आधार होते हैं। अब जो ये गोत्र विवाह जो है, इसका जो मेन मकसद है कि भाई खून का और दूध का रिश्ता छोड़ना, वो मेन यही है कि इसमें साइंटिफिक रीजन है कि भाई थैलेसीमिया, एलिफीमिया, जेनेटिकल जो बीमारियां हैं वो ना आए।
Judgment says in such a progressive society there are people who follow strict caste rules, as many young couples were killed in the name of honor in India. According to their belief, an intercaste marriage is an offense. But one valid point raised by him was the social order and the destruction or erosion of the existing social order. Do we have an answer for that in the new system that came into being after and is taking and is getting stronger? That is the constitution. The constitutional system and the social systems. Do you see any conflict between the two or no conflict?
Yes, there is a conflict because the constitution is modern, the social order is backward and feudal, and the social order must be destroyed. Why should you want to protect a backward and barbaric social order where people are treated, women are looked down upon, treated in a barbaric manner, where casteism prevails? What is this social? Should we uphold a social order which is backward, feudal, barbaric? No, it has to be destroyed, and we have to modernize our society, make our society scientific, not feudal and barbaric. So why should we protect this social, talking of social order, that we must protect? You must destroy this social order. It's an evil social order.
Ma'am, why do we need to protect the social order?
I think I will partly agree and partly disagree. We surely need to protect social order which is just and which is progressive, which is modern. But I think the whole social order, it's like throwing the baby with the bathtub. Whole social order may not be as unscientific and as barbaric. So the good parts must be sustained and must be protected also.
What are the good parts?
And let us see.
What are the good parts?
I wouldn't say if respecting the elders was good, I don't think we have to really
Why should you
go
respect
ahead.
elders? An
I-
elder
I-
who teaches you
Bad.
nonsense.
Should. Yes.
No,
I agree,
don't
sir.
respect elders who teach you nonsense, who teach you casteism, communalism.
They
But
are
sir,
not to
who
be.
is going to
They are
decide
not
what
to
is
be.
nonsense,
But
sir?
then how do you decide? Sir, I think
You
this is a
have
very
to use your
transitional
head.
point.
You have to use your brains. Don't follow your elders because normally
Yes.
they teach casteism,
No,
communalism.
but sir,
Stop respecting elders.
no, sir,
they
but
will
my
teach you nonsense.
no, I tell you,
backwardness.
no, sir, my father taught us very progressive ideas. 30, 40 years
You are an
back or
exception.
50 years
You
back.
are an exception.
But then they have to be
You are an
respected.
exception.
And it's we educated
Normal
people.
fathers, parents teach
They
caste.
don't.
See,
And
so
I
don't
tell
talk
you.
about yourself personal. It's nothing
No,
personal.
it's nothing.
You are
It's
an
not
exception.
personal. But
Normally
still
they
I would
teach
say-
nonsense. The parents teach casteism, communalism, superstitions, all kinds of rubbish, backwardness. Start disobeying your parents who teach all this nonsense.
Yeah, if they teach all this
course
nonsense,
they
they
do
should
teach.
be.
They do
should be
teach.
disobeyed. But I think even young people should have their own idea to discerning ideas. This is bad and this is good, and which must come. Again, I'll go back to the same social order and the society. The parents also have a great role, as he said. But if they give you good ideas, they are to be respected. But if they are saying
Who
something
decides
wrong,
what is good, what is bad?
a discerning mind only can decide. The child doesn't have that, and therefore social order becomes important. But this social order, which created so much hierarchy and it stratified society, because what Justice Katju couldn't say about the other layers of society, I could say about upper caste Hindus, and he said the middle caste, as I say, they can be much more barbaric. But because I again say, because they really lack enlightenment. If not education, they lack enlightenment, and that enlightenment must come. We are moving to a system where even education is not giving you anything, no values, no discerning ideas and mind. So it is a churning process, which at times is violent, but I think we'll move towards light.
Sir, duties of a citizen. Do you think it's high time that there should be a charter, something which says what the duty of the citizen should be, and it should have legislative backing?
Article 51 of the Constitution imposes certain fundamental duties, one of which is that it is the duty of every citizen to promote the scientific temper. The only way to solve the country's problems is science. By science, I don't mean merely physics, chemistry, and biology. I mean the entire scientific outlook. We must develop logical minds, questioning minds, rational minds among our masses, and spread the scientific outlook to every nook and corner of the country, and which means we must combat casteism, communalism, superstition, and other forms of backwardness. That is the only
The
way.
article that sir mentioned, is that enough, or do we need to do more?
No, people don't even remember that article except teachers and lawyers. Nobody really reads that or bothers about that. So we surely need more than that. And what Sir said, scientific mind, and what I said, enlightenment, and then an administration which really implements the laws and judgments which come up, for which they need to be
Progressive
sensitized and trained accordingly.
Right. Thank you, sir and ma'am, for joining us on this discussion. It's time for us to end the show. You can email your suggestions and comments to law.rstv@gmail.com. You can also watch our shows on the YouTube. We'll be back with a new issue and a new episode. Keep watching Rajya Sabha TV.